Hello there, this is James and you're watching Tixee Live. In today's program, there's a fair few things I want to go through, including the change in mood of the market, and we'll have a little chat about that. Obviously, we'll talk about what happened about 2 hours ago with the UK CPI as well, and a couple of other things which is happening and occurring in the market at the moment. But before we get to that, don't forget, these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as advice. I always suggest you do your own research and do your own due diligence. And of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. With that out the way, let's get started. Now, only yesterday, I was talking about the market being in a bit more happier place, a bit more risk on. And part of that, in that video yesterday when I was talking, I did mention, and I did ask, how long is this happy feeling going to stay? And the answer is currently not very long. So yes, the happy feeling the market was feeling yesterday has disappeared, so to speak. But before we go into that in more detail on that, let's do a recap of what happened 2 hours ago with the UK CPI. And as expected, yes, indeed, UK inflation is now at a new 40-year high. In fact, we haven't seen inflation like this since 1981. I was alive in 1981, so I've seen it, but even though I was only about, 3 at the time. So anyway, I can't remember that. But yes, CPI came in, announced at 9.1% year on year as expected. If we look at the previous CPIs, we can see the steady growth. May was 9%, April was 7%, March was 6.2%, February 5.5%, and January 5.4%. So yes, we can see a general increase in inflation. And of course, there is anticipation that UK CPI or inflation will be in double digits by the end of this year. CPI core CPI, which doesn't include food and energy, was announced at 5.9%, slightly lower than expected of the amount which 6%, which was expected. So how is it doing? How is the cable doing? How is the sterling doing in general? We're going to have a look at that. All I will say is the happy feeling with the sterling yesterday and the cable bulls, they're not there anymore, despite the hawkish tone which we had yesterday as well. So they're no longer there. They're not able to deter the bears, so to speak. Sorry, a bit thirsty. So let's have a quick look at some of the statements which were made yesterday, these hawkish statements, which is not deterring the sterling bears anyway whatsoever. First of all, Bank of England's Catherine Mann, who is hawkish, she said 50 basis points would reduce the risk of inflation. So that's anticipation for the next Bank of England rate increase will be 50 basis points. Bank of England's Hugh Pill, who is a bit dovish, but he was hawkish yesterday. He said he's willing to sacrifice growth to tame inflation. So despite these hawkish tones yesterday, the sterling has not really benefited. So let's have a quick look at where the sterling is. This is on a 4-hour chart. Now, yesterday, on the back of that hawkish tone by those MPC members, it did briefly touch 123 level. Before then, obviously, we start seeing dollar strength. Since the CPI and since we see the change in mood of the market today, we're back again challenging that level of 121.97. Back again, challenging that level. This is on a 4-hour chart as well. The RSI is in the middle of the 1730, potentially indicating we could see further selling. But as it stands, it's still hovering around that key level of 121.97, the area of interest, which I'll be keeping my eye on quite closely. Let's have a quick look at against the euro as well. Okay, we see euro strength again against the sterling. Currently trading around 0.86, 108. Interesting level actually, because you can see again, this is on a 4-hour chart. You can see there has been some selling around this area and it is touching the upper band of the Bollinger Band. But again, it's also between the 70 and the 30, so indicating we could potentially still see further buying of the euro against the sterling. So yeah, so that's the sterling, not in a good place again today. So what else is happening? What else is happening? Like I said, that happy feeling has sort of gone a little bit. And I did ask the question how long it's going to last. And I did say I didn't think it was going to last very long. And what we really are seeing is all the gains we made yesterday across the board in so many different assets is now behind us. They've now been reduced again. And what we are seeing again, because we have risk off appetite, we are seeing the dollar being king once again. Once again, the dollar being king. So we'll look at some of the assets again in a minute. But before I go on to that, there is something else I want to talk about. And that is, of course, the Japanese yen, trading now at levels not seen since October 1998. Now, those of you who were with me yesterday, you might remember I was talking about the Bank of Japan minutes. And this gentleman asked me a fantastic question yesterday. He asked me, when do I potentially see the yen gaining a bit of growth back? And I said, well, not until the BOJ does something. And I said, well, we've got the BOJ minutes, which were released this morning, and hopefully we'll see something in that, which might give the yen a better strength. Answer is no, we didn't. In fact, all we got from the BOJ minutes was there was some board members who were concerned about the weakness of the yen. However, they also stressed the need to maintain current monetary policy. So again, they are not changing their stance on their monetary policy. So yeah, there's no intervention from the BOJ at the moment. Let's have a quick look at the yen as it stands at the moment. So again, 136.19. That's the level it's trading at the moment. A little bit of selling around just above that. But like I say, we still have an awful lot of dollar strength against the yen still. We're still on an uptrend. This is on a 4-hour chart, remember. And as well as that, the RSI is under 70, again, potentially indicating there's still some more buying power potentially there. It's not overbought yet. Let's have a quick look as we got the charts up. Let's have a look at some of the other assets we were looking at yesterday. Let's look at the euro first. Now, remember the euro? We were saying it was actually above 1.05 level again. And we drew on that level yesterday. That level yesterday we said would be an area of interest, potential resistance, 1.0578. It did indeed hold. And the euro, again, like we're saying, we're seeing dollar strength. The euro, again, is back around below 1.05, currently trading at 1.0496. So again, dollar strength. What else did we look at yesterday? Oh, yes, let's look at Bitcoin as well. Obviously, that's a risk asset. Again, it managed to briefly get above the $21,000 level. It's now back below that. It's challenging that level we were watching of $20,355. So again, yes, we're seeing slight weakness in Bitcoin, which is not surprising. Gold, again, dollar strength is hovering around this vital level we've been watching for many times, $1,828, hovering around that. So yes, the dollar is winning against gold at the moment. And finally, which is maybe a little bit of good news, could maybe, hopefully this may help us who have to drive to work. Oil is also under pressure. WTI is currently at $104 a barrel. Okay, so that is under pressure due to the fact that obviously the market is now thinking lack of demand because we got economic slowdown and because of high inflation. And Brent is trading at $107 a barrel. So, in some ways, unless you're an oil bull, for the rest of us as consumers, that could indicate good news in the future. Right. So, what is all this now? Why the mood has changed so much? Well, one is, like I said yesterday, the whole fear of recession hasn't gone away. High inflation hasn't gone away. And of course, we've got this happening today. Jay Powell's testimony to Congress, which is due at 1:30 p.m. UTC. And I think the market is waiting for him to be extremely hawkish in this testimony. This is why we're seeing a lot of dollar strength and risk off currently. Don't forget, as well as that, today I'm doing the watch along of Canadian CPI. That's at 12:20 p.m. UTC, 10 minutes before the announcement. So please come along and join me for that, because that should be interesting, because the market is transfixed with inflation at the moment. Be interesting to watch the loonie as well, which is the US dollar, Canadian dollar. And we'll watch the Canadian dollar, obviously, against several other pairs as well. So come along for that event if you can, 12:20 p.m. UTC. So other events happening again for the remainder of this week. We have CAD CPI. Like I said, I'm doing the watch along. Fed Powell testifies. Like I said, that's happening today. German manufacturing PMI, UK services PMI, and US initial claims. So a lot going on. How the market currently is feeling, like I said, that happy feeling we had yesterday is no longer there. We can see the FTSE's down negative 1.12%. DAX is negative 1.99%. Eurostoxx negative 1.61%. So yes, the bears are slightly back in the market at the moment. Don't forget, you can ask me questions anytime you wish. This is what I'm here for. So please never hesitate to ask me any questions. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask me. You can have a sip of water. Sorry, my throat gets so dry. Okay, no problem. There's no questions. Don't forget then, in that case, there's no questions. Don't forget, I'll be back online at 12:20 p.m. UTC to do the watch along of the Canadian CPI. And then again, about 1:15 p.m. UTC, I'll be back online again to discuss the US session. And hopefully I'll be online at the time that Powell is testifying. So if you get any information coming from Powell, I can share that with you. Right, so don't forget, as I always say, if you're watching me on Facebook and you quite like it, by all means, give us a follow. If you're watching me on YouTube and you quite like it, feel free to subscribe if you want. Maybe hit the notification button. So next time you know I'm going live, you can get ahead of the curve. And if you enjoyed this little episode, I've got a like already. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this little episode, please give me one of those. It's nice to know that you're liking it, and it puts a smile on my face. But anyway, till next time, well, 12:20 p.m. UTC. Till then, remember, these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be treated as financial advice. I always suggest you do your own research and do your own due diligence. And of course, be aware of the risks at hand before entering any trade. Till next time, every single one of you, trade safe.